Welcome to the latest edition of Beyond the Arc. I'm John Gonzalez alongside our NBA insider, Bill Ryder. And before we get to the NBA, Bill, it is college basketball season, also known as the most college basketball I will watch all year. I went out
same.
I went out and met up with a buddy who's big into college basketball. And like the moment I sat down for like the UConn game, I was like, this is the most I've watched all season. It was fun.
So it is fun. Can I be the obnoxious guy who takes a little bit of a shot at college basketball on behalf of the NBA?
Yeah,
by the way, I used to cover college basketball.
Me too.
I count among friends of mine, Frank Martin, Scott Drew, to a degree, Bill Self, Brad Underwood at Illinois. Like I know these guys. Like I love it's hard to watch when you watch NBA. It's so slow. So slow.
There are times when I, like there would be like a dribble handoff or whatever, or somebody coming around a screen, a guard curling around a screen. I'm like, oh, he's going to launch. He's going to pull from three. And then it was just like dribble more. And I'm like, oh, you're not right. This is college hoops. They got to work into their sets. It takes a second. I was hoping for like more buzzer beaters. There wasn't a bunch of upsets. There was only one 10. All of a sudden we're doing a college basketball pod. There's only one double digit seed, Arkansas, that made it into the Sweet 16, but maybe the Sweet 16 will be more exciting. By the way, check out our college basketball pod, Eye on College Basketball for CBS. They do a great job over there. All right. In professional basketball, later on, we'll talk about, I'm going to get Bill's temperature on the Suns on a quote unquote heater. We'll talk about that. There's a whole bunch of injuries that haven't been great. But first, we're going to talk about LeBron James is back, but the Lakers had a bad loss after he returned, Bill. He missed 7 games with a groin injury. He looked really good. They got smoked by the Bulls at home. They lost by 31 in that game. I guess from this one, you just go, well, look, LeBron played 31 minutes. He looked really good and athletic, and it didn't look like he was limited in any way. So, yeah, you don't want to lose to the Bulls at any point in the season, and certainly not as you're jockeying for position in a really tough 2-5 match. But LeBron's back and he looks okay.
Yeah, I think for me, I think I agree. I chalk this up as it's one game. I don't want to make a mountain out of a molehill on a single NBA game. But it is a little just like, let's keep an eye on the Lakers. It did occur to me, and I pushed it down because it's dumb. But it did occur to me, did we give the Lakers too much credit? Did we honeymoon too soon? But no, I think you're right. LeBron looked amazing, but it doesn't matter if LeBron hadn't played. There's no excuse to lose to the Bulls, let alone to give up 146 points.
To get absolutely throttled by the Bulls. Here's the other problem. I mean, if you're looking at the Lakers and you're a little bit worried about this, they had everybody available. I mean, it was one of the few times that they've had everybody available since adding in Luka. So Luka was out there. Rui came back. He had missed 12 games in a row with a knee injury. So yeah, I mean, maybe it's just one of those, hey, everybody's here. We're all, feeling each other out again. But it was also like from beginning to end, like the Bulls just absolutely steamrolled them. And all of a sudden I looked around and I was like, what's that line for Josh Giddey? And like Kobe White put up more than 30 and he looked really good. And it's like the Lakers never got out of the gate.
I'm going to give you an analysis that I'm lying to myself. So now I'm going to lie to you and lie to the audience. But I told myself, well, the Bulls are playing for something. They're playing, even though they're not really playing for anything. They're locked into that. They're going to be in that playing spot, whatever it is. The Raptors are trying to lose games, but they are, as bad as they are, as far under 500 as they are still playing for competitive basketball. Like they're going to be a playing team.
Ziller, who does a great newsletter, Tom Ziller, who does a great newsletter, and I recommend everybody subscribe to it. He in this morning's just asked a question, and I looked at it sideways at first, and then I was like, maybe he asked, "Are the Bulls kind of sneaky, like enjoyable all of a sudden, like
enjoyable?" Okay.
Like entertaining, like just a little bit fun. Again, I'm not a Giddey guy. I think that it's kind of good stats, bad team here. I do like Kobe White. I think Kobe White is an underrated player. And, if he wasn't a starter, could be a really good, Sam and I talked about this a couple of weeks ago, could be like a 6 man of the year candidate on a good team. Matas Buzelis, anybody? Yeah, I don't know. They've been a little fun.
I don't watch a lot of Bulls games. I think I've watched more Bulls games in the last week than I have they played. Who did I watch? The Suns last week? Is that right? They lost to the Suns by 8 or 9 or 7 or. Sorry, Ziller. I know.
They're not very good. you got to really squint at this thing. This is kind of a crazy stat from producer Aaron. 146 points, which is what the Bulls scored against the Lakers, is tied for the most points the Lakers have ever given up in regulation at home, and that goes back to time with the last time it happened. It's tied with a game from 1984. So the preponderance of these players were not born by a long shot. LeBron was. Congrats, LeBron.
Let me ask you a question. Let me take your question and put a twist on it. Does this game at all, that is a terrible performance, does this make you at all rethink the stat we've been throwing around, which is a true stat, that there was a long stretch going back to January where the Lakers had the best defense in the NBA? A lot of those games, most of those games without Anthony Davis when he was injured, and then obviously when he was gone. Does it make you rethink the reliability of this Lakers juggernaut defense this year since 2025 started?
I think not, because we had a bigger sample size where they were rolling. And again, I think it's like, okay, LeBron's back and Rui's back, and like we have to figure out where everybody is again. And like, oh, maybe just, they were completely underestimating the Bulls. Sometimes these games happen where it's just like a rando game against a team you think you're going to beat, and you end up, getting the doors blown off, and it's just surprising, and you move on. I want to see how they respond though. So their upcoming schedule, they're on a little bit of a road trip here. They got 4 games on the road coming up. They got the Magic, the Pacers, then the Bulls again, and then the Grizz, who knows what to make of the Grizz, because who knows if Ja's going to be around. We're going to talk about injuries in a little bit. Then they're home against the Rockets and the Warriors. Rockets had won 9 in a row. They just lost to the Nugs without Joker. And then the Warriors, they've got, we're going to discuss this as well. The Warriors are about to be in Miami for the homecoming of one James Butler, which should be a fun one. I just want to see how the Lakers respond on this. So, Bill, now this has made – it's been like this all season. The Western Conference standings 2 through 5 have been an absolute hash. Who knows what to make of it? But I'm curious if you feel like we've gotten any clarity here. So 2, 3, 4, 5 is the Rockets, the Nugs, the Lakers, and the Grizz. They are separated by just 2.5 games. After that, 6, 7, 8, you've got the Warriors, the Wolves, and the Clippers. That's separated by just 1 game. And then 9, 10, 11 is the Kings, Suns, and the Mavs. That's separated by just 1.5 games. The West is super bunched up in these clumps. But for the 2 through 5 here, again, the Rockets had won 9 in a row. They just lost. The Nugs have been without Joker. Unfortunately, it looks like he's not going to play tonight either, although he's expected to be back at some point during this 5-game homestand. Lakers we just covered, and then the Grizz, again, they've got problems with getting Ja on the floor. Of that group, everybody's got questions.
Yeah, I talked about this on the radio show this morning. Zero clarity. 2 to 8. I mean, I think 2 to 8, because what are the Clippers? 8. Yeah, what are the
Warriors, Wolves, and Clips? Yeah.
I think my answer is still – there's so many – by the way, I can't remember if we discussed this, John, or not last week, but Tom Haberstroh put this list out on X end of last week of all the stars by his count who were injured, who had missed like Wednesday or Thursday, and it was 30 guys. And you just keep adding to that list. So assuming that the guys that are supposed to be healthy are healthy, I think I'm still going to go Warriors are the best non-Thunder team, or the team with the highest realistic ceiling, followed by Denver and the Lakers, but I'm not sure, man. It's hard to call.
Questions about this, non-Oklahoma City division. There's a ton of parity, right? Do we like this? Do we like?
Yeah, we do.
It just I think it's a lot of fun. It's very confusing. And by the way, we had talked when Oklahoma City clinched a playoff berth, and we're kind of lukewarm on that. How impressive is it though that they've already clinched the first seed? I mean, last year it went down to the wire between them and the Wolves and the Nuggets, where we didn't know until the final weekend who was going to end up with the 1 seed. Now we are 2 weeks out and change from the end of the regular season, and they've already got it locked up.
I mean, they're going to win 60 if they want to. They're going to win 65 or 66 games. I mean, they're going to win a lot of games this year. If they want to.
Question: how would you play it? Do you take your foot off the gas at all? Do you rest some of these guys? Do you stagger them? Because there's that rest versus rust thing where you want to be in fighting form.
But I think you're playing everybody 28 or 30 minutes, right? I think you're going the old Spurs Popovich model, where when those guys were old, everybody played, but they all played 25 to 32 minutes a game.
Yeah, they've got the roster to do it, right?
And they're deep. Yeah,
that's what I mean. I mean, you can ease off the gas pedal a little bit with some of these guys. Now, there are other questions here too. And when we've discussed the MVP race, Joker's missed 4 games. Well, it's like he's about to miss 5. But if you are SGA and you bring this thing home, it looks like it could really be yours, as opposed to, well, all of a sudden if you ease off the gas a little bit and you're playing like 28, 30 minutes a game, and maybe your counting stats aren't as much. And now all of a sudden Joker comes back and who knows if he gets hot.
That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a little bit of a question for SGA.
Let me ask you a question. I'm interested in this. Do we like it? Do we like the parody? You and I like it. We watch a lot of basketball.
Fair enough.
Is it good for the ratings?
I think ultimately the ratings come down to is LeBron playing for the Lakers? Is Steph playing for the Warriors? Is Joker out there? And so you mentioned Haberstroh putting out how many players have missed games, and it just this last like week, 2 weeks. I mean, I was saving this for Weekend Radar, which we'll get into in a little bit, but we might as well do it now. So Joker, Jalen Brunson, John Morant, Domantas Sabonis, who might be back sooner than later, has had a schedule, and Steph Curry. Steph Curry might be available. He flew to Miami and is questionable for tomorrow night's game against the Heat. But Joker missed his last 4. They went 2-2 on that road trip. Brunson has missed his last 8 with an ankle. They're 4-4 without him. Domantas Sabonis, he was supposed to be out for another 10 days. Now, all of a sudden, he's questionable. So that's great news for the Kings. Steph, he rolled an ankle. He landed on his back. That was the most recent one. And then Ja has missed 4 in a row with a hamstring. They're 1-3 without him.
LeBron, who just came back.
Yeah, LeBron too. I mean, so does the NBA like it? I mean, I think the NBA would love the parity if these guys could get on the floor.
And I suppose if I'm not sure this is logical, but the old get out of the way now thing, maybe they're just having a bad run now and they're going to be healthy in April. I don't really believe that either. LeBron will be healthy. Like LeBron, you hope. Yeah, it's everybody's banged up. Every single, other than the Thunder, they got their home injury out of the way earlier in the year. Yeah. And I guess the Cavs, everybody, and Boston's pretty healthy. Everybody's hurt, man. And every team. And
you and I were talking about this before we came on the air. We're also in that period in the NBA where, it's fun for us to watch the seeding and who's moving around. But right now, it's pretty much college basketball season, right? March Madness is sucking up a ton of the oxygen. And then once college basketball season is over, then everybody goes, hey, NBA playoffs. And then the focus is solely on the NBA. So I think like right now, ratings wise and just attention wise, it's a tough sell for the NBA because you're up against March Madness. And then on top of that, as we mentioned, there's so many injuries to so many big names. So those guys can't get back soon enough. Quick break. And then on the other side, we're going to discuss a little bit of rough sledding recently for the Cavs, who just snapped their losing streak with a win over the hapless Jazz. We'll get into that. And Donovan Mitchell really given a lot of tough love to Donovan Mitchell, as well as I'm interested to see Bill's take on this. Are we buying a Suns heater? I'm putting that in air quotes. They've won 3 games. I guess that qualifies for them. We'll discuss that on the other side. This is Beyond the Arc.
Guys, can you feel it? Legends were born here. History was made here. These are hallowed grounds.
Hallowed grounds? The NCIS squad room?
Well, I wasn't talking about that, but I was talking about Augusta National.
All right. It's finally time for the Masters. I hear it's a tradition unlike any other.
All right, welcome back to Beyond the Arc. You can find us wherever you get your favorite podcasts. Please download, subscribe, leave a review, and if you're listening on Spotify, you can leave us a comment. If you look below the play button on the Spotify app in full screen mode, you can tell us what you think about the show. All right, so the Cavs, Bill, they stumbled a little bit. They lost to the Suns, who we're going to talk about in just a second here. They lost 4 in a row after, 16 wins in a row. Then all of a sudden they dropped 4 in a row, a little streaky. They did get a win yesterday against the Jazz. Congrats on that. Donovan Mitchell, after that Suns loss, was not very kind to Donovan Mitchell. Here's what he had to say.
I'm going to put this on me. Like, when your leader ain't doing shit, this is what happens. We have to guard, better rebound, shit like that, but if I'm not being who I need to be, then we're not going to get to where we want to get to. So until that happens, and it will, but until that happens, so this is me. If you have anywhere to point, it's right here.
Bill, this is something that you have discussed about wanting to see Donovan Mitchell take over in the play. You and Donovan Mitchell, it's that meme where the guys are like holding hands, and flexing their muscles, like in a total agreement that Donovan Mitchell needs to step up.
And we both like Donovan Mitchell. And we both want to believe in Donovan Mitchell. I was on Cleveland radio with my guy Nick Wilson last week, and there is, you can kind of tell there's an anxiety in Cleveland about what we're talking about. Is this sort of poor streak, which has continued? Is it a sign of a problem or a team that just kind of relaxed because they've had a great year? And is Donovan Mitchell reliable? And I'm not as worried about Cleveland being a little bit of a cooler, right? That happens, and they still have a 5-game lead at the top. They're the top. They're going to get the top spot in the Eastern Conference, and I do worry a little bit. Do you think I'm wrong? Like, you can tell. Do you think I'm off in having some trepidation about playoff Donovan Mitchell being good enough to live up to the expectations? Where the minimum, I think Cavs have to make the conference finals and put up a fight, presumably against the Celtics, right? For a success at a minimum for this season. I think to not be a disappointment.
I mean, I think that's the floor, right? I'd be shocked. I'd be absolutely floored if they're not in the conference finals
and put up a fight. And you got to go like 6 or 7.
And we've seen that
at least
during their regular season matchups. I'm with you though, and Donovan Mitchell obviously is too, that when Donovan Mitchell isn't playing extremely well, then all of a sudden, you look around and like, how did we lose to the Suns? We're a better team than the Suns. How did we lose 4 in a row? We shouldn't be losing 4 in a row when we won 16 straight. And if you're asking me like which of the two teams is more real, the team that won 16 in a row and had multiple 15-game winning streaks this season, or the team that just lost 4 in a row, including one of the Suns, I'll take the team that had the winning streaks. I think that they are legit. But you're going to need Donovan Mitchell to step forward. I put this to Sam last week because we went through his all NBA teams. Sam had Donovan Mitchell as the last guy into the pool and first team all NBA, the 5th guy. I said that I would rather have put probably LeBron, maybe Jalen Brunson. I've got Donovan Mitchell behind those guys in terms of like what I think that they've accomplished this season, just because really Donovan Mitchell is on a much better team than the other two guys. And I thought LeBron's lift this season, especially after a slow start, was massive. And you were the one who sold me on, hey, despite Karl Anthony Towns having a really good season, who's the best player on that team? It's Jalen Brunson. And like when he's not around, the Knicks go, oh no, like we're getting into our offense. Like, we're gettable, we're beatable. I just think that those two guys, now the injuries factor in here, and we're funneling into the rest of the regular season and how many games are they going to have back? But I would probably have Don Mitchell on second team.
I think the other argument against Donovan Mitchell for that is kind of like John Moran in Memphis. I know Donovan Mitchell over a longer timeline is the best player on the team, and I know he's probably the most important player on the team, but I think Evan Mobley's been the better player, arguably, on the team this year. And so, again, it's not quite the same thing as Brunson, but this year, kind of like in Memphis, I'm not even sure Donovan's been the best player. He's been really good. I'm just not sure he's been the best player on the team this year.
I think part of it is just like career bias, right? Where he is by reputation and by, like by numbers, by performance, all of that. He is the best player on the team, right? And I'm doing air quotes again. But this season, if you ask like who's been most important, who's been the biggest clutch player, I think it's been Evan Mobley. I mean, he's really stepped forward. He's probably going to be defensive player of the year unless something wacky happens. A late push perhaps by like Dyson Daniels or somebody, Draymond Green making the case for himself. But Evan Mobley has been a revelation this season. So it's not that Donovan Mitchell isn't still good, but I think what he said there is right. Like when he's not at his best, these things happen. And he wasn't at his best in that Suns game. And now all of a sudden, Bill, the Suns have won 3 in a row. They beat the Raptors, the Bulls, and the aforementioned Cavs. In that Cavs game, KD went for 42. They are now in 10th place, separated with the Kings and the Mavs on either side by just a game and a half. The Blazers are 2.5 games back of them. Are you buying the resurgent Suns?
No. All right. All right. You beat a struggling Cleveland team for the moment. The Raptors and the Bulls. You lost, if I remember this right, you lost to the Lakers without LeBron, a week and a half ago. No, the Suns are a mess. They have massively talented. This is the thing about the Suns. This is a good preview of how we could be okie dokie by the Suns, because there's a world where where Kevin Durant scores 87 points in 2 games in the play-in tournament. And Devin Booker scores, 80 points in those 2 games, and it's like, oh, they figured it out. Now it's a tough challenge, and can they compete against the and then they get smoked
and then they get
humiliated against Oklahoma
Yeah.
City. Yeah.
Yeah. I was wondering about that because as we're looking at the standings now, let's just say for the sake of argument that they finish up as is. If they end up playing the Kings in the 9-10 game, like, are they favored in that game?
Yeah.
Maybe,
Yeah.
probably. I
You
mean,
have Kevin
Sabonis looks
Durant.
like he's going to come back, but you do have Kevin Durant, and then all of a sudden you're getting the winner or the loser of the Wolves and the Clippers. Like, could they beat either of those teams if they get hot? They could. They absolutely could. But then all of a sudden, yeah, you're setting yourself up to get absolutely steamrolled by the Thunder, and like a little bit of fool's gold there.
If you're the NBA and you can choose one, who would you rather have in the playoffs? If you're Adam Silver, do you want Kevin Durant in the playoffs or do you want Anthony Edwards in the playoffs?
Ooh.
I think it's Ant.
It's really tough. It's really tough. I mean, and you want to promote your young guys, right? Your stars, your future stars, but also Kevin Durant is a Hall of Famer. I mean, he's a top 75 player of all time. And so, like, wouldn't you I mean, the Suns have more drama to them, more storylines. The Wolves are the better basketball team, and I think you and I would prefer the Wolves. But outside of Anthony Edwards, like, who's the draw there?
I'm gonna say, and this is like very like scientific sample size. The dudes that I bump into around where I live in LA who want to talk hoops, they're all Lakers fans. To my great surprise, they keep bringing up Anthony Edwards. They keep telling me that Ant's one of the reasons some of these dudes got back into the NBA. And maybe it's just 3 random dudes that I keep, but I think I want Ant in the playoffs.
If it ended up as the Wolves lose that 7-8 game and they're playing KD for that final spot, and then now who would you rather have against Oklahoma City? I'd much rather see Ant against SGA. That sounds like a lot more fun than whatever the Suns could throw out there.
The Wolves can beat Houston, by the way. I know that Houston, there's a lot of movement that can still happen. The Wolves can beat the Rockets if they play them in like a 2-7.
Yeah, they absolutely could.
Be fun.
I mean, any of those matchups outside of whoever Oklahoma City draws as a sacrificial lamb in the first round, I think are going to be like 2 through 7. That all those matchups are going to be excellent. All right, let's take a quick break, and then on the other side, we'll do a little weekend radar that's coming up. This is Beyond the Arc.
One of golf's elite courses, Quail Hollow, hosts the game's top players at the PGA Championship this May on CBS.
All right, welcome back to Beyond the Arc. You can find us on YouTube at Beyond the Arc CBS. Please hit that like button, leave a comment, subscribe, and if you click on the bell symbol, you'll get notified when we go live. We might go live tomorrow night following Jimmy Butler's triumphant, we expect, return to Miami. At the very least, he's going to roll in there like a tornado. We may or may not go live, so click the bell symbol and you'll get notified if we do. All right, weekend radar, Bill. What hit you from this weekend?
Did you see this sort of movement on social media to basically require a win threshold to play in the play-in tournament, which would never happen, by the way? It's the dumbest idea of NBA Twitter. It's the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
What would the threshold be?
It was basically to eliminate the Bulls in Miami if they're really bad. It's a response to Chicago and Miami being awful. But they're going to tell the broadcasting partner, I know we sold you this play-in game, but it is on my radar how bad these teams are. So I was sort of paying attention. Yeah. And then we already talked about the Bulls beating the Lakers, but that win notwithstanding, whoever advances out of that 9-10 game in the East, they're going to subtract from the sum of all human joy when they play the winner of the 7-8. They're bad teams.
I want to interrogate this idea. So the idea is like you've got to make it to like 35 wins or something.
I guess it would be 35 or 36.
So what happens if you don't? Do you just not play that? Like it just doesn't
exist? It's why it's a dumb idea. It's why it's such a I saw it on social media and I thought I'm not going to bring it up on my radio show.
All right,
my producer
let's just say
terrible.
Well, you have to have at least 8 teams, and right now, team number 8, Orlando Magic, is 5 games under. So, what if you had 3 teams that didn't qualify? Were you just playing a 7-team tournament on the East?
You can't do it at all. You have to do the playing games are part of like TV deals with right. I mean, you have to. It doesn't matter if it's a 7-win team that gets in. You're in.
Funny idea. Yeah, I mean, look, the East has been a hot mess for a long time now. Yeah. Every year we come in, I trick myself. I get excited during the preseason, during the off season.
So positive.
We go a couple months without basketball, and then basketball comes back in preseason. I'm like, it's going to be fun this year. the East. And then invariably, like, it isn't.
It's always tied to the Sixers too. It's like, like, oh, the Sixers are going to be good.
I do sell myself on them. This year, though, I was much quicker to come around to them being terrible and not being a contender. But so the Eastern Conference, I mean, like, yeah, outside of the top 6 have been fun, and the Pistons have been amazing. You know what? Real quick, while we're doing this, while we're talking about things we saw on social media, right before I came on, there's a user on Blue Sky who I think is really smart, and apologies for Velotis is his name on Blue Sky. He's really smart, follows the NBA, is involved in the NBA. Basically was saying, like, he thinks Dyson Daniels should be the most improved player of the year and not Cade Cunningham, who's the favorite to win the award, because Cade Cunningham was already really good. And Dyson Daniels is the one who's taken the leap forward. And my point was, he made some amazing points on Dyson Daniels, but my point was relative to the top 6 teams in the Eastern Conference. Like, yeah, Cade Cunningham was good last year, but it was kind of like good stats, bad team. This year, he's not only taken the step forward to all NBA, which is a massive leap, but like, look around those Pistons teams. Like, Ivy's out, right? Like, who's the second best player? Is it like Malik?
I'm totally with the other guy. Have you and I not had this talk? Was it me and Brad?
We have.
I think the most improved player award is so dumb.
Sense.
We've had this talk. Like,
yeah.
Because the guy's already great. He's not the most improved, just the most developing on the track that he was always developing on.
What about what he's done for the Pistons and how much better the Pistons are this season? It's not
cool. Good job. You're like you guys won more than 3 games or whatever, because Cade Cunningham continues to get better and you have a competent coach now. Dude, it's not most improved player. So we have done this. This is, look, you didn't have the reaction when I said it. You had a reaction when Blue Sky guy had it. Yeah, this isn't new. You have to eliminate last 3 years all NBA team, all NBA rookie team, something, because in that case, just give it to SGA. Give it to Joker. Joker's the most improved player. He's having a career year. Isn't he the most improved player? He's improved from last year. Come on.
I I hear what you're saying. I just think Dyson Daniels is right there. Christian Brown, all these guys who have had big.
Christian Brown's a good one. Yeah, it's a good one.
It's just that Cade has gone from he's really good and people have focused on him to holy bleep, I can't believe what he's doing. He's all NBA. And there are legitimate conversations that I have had on this show with you and with Sam about, is he bigger SGA? And last year, if I had said that, you would have been like, come on, that's a little bit outrageous. Now it's this is a conversation we could have.
That's because they're winning, though. I mean,
and they're winning.
All of his comps. I did this a week or two ago when we had this talk. If you look at his comps from last year, it's nice. It's not the jump some other guys have. It's a philosophical disagreement. I mean, it's not. Yeah. You're probably not wrong based on the way you see it. If you're the most improved player, I think you have to have made a leap to a different level. And Cade Cunningham was always a really, really good player.
The Pistons,
he was a really good player on a bad team,
but he made the Pistons relevant. That alone. They're 2 games they're 2 games out of the 4 seed, Bill. They're 2 games.
Other guys are playing well.
Hosting a first round series.
I mean, I'd rather vote for Monty as most improved player by simply leaving, even though he's not a player. I mean, that's the most improved reality, right? They're getting more out of guys who are not just Cade Cunningham. It's not just. It's a coach of the year, I think, conversation more than it's a most on the ballot.
Yeah, JB definitely deserves some love there. All right, who else is on or what else is on your weekend radar?
I've got Kawhi Leonard on my radar, and look, I know that I'm buying a car from the same used salesman who sold me a lemon last time and the time before and the time before. But I don't know if you've been watching. He looks good. He looks good. He had 25 and 10 over the weekend. I think you have noted. I have not. You have noted that the Clippers are spunky and they play really good basketball and they've got the James Harden guy. And I don't want to believe in it, but I can't stop paying attention to Kawhi and I'm trying to push down any level of belief. But if he's healthy, they're kind of interesting.
Is he going to be around? Because we did this last year.
I know.
We did this last year where we went into the playoffs and we were like, hey, the Clippers could be good. And then all of a sudden, Paul George was looking around like, where'd everybody go? So if Kawhi's out there, yeah, sure. I mean, that's the team, when Matt Ishbia has said nobody's going to want to play us, we're going to be a tough out. The Clippers actually will be, whether or not Kawhi's on the floor or not, because they've been playing like that all season. Norm Powell's back now, and James Harden's had a really good year, and they play defense, and Ty Lue's a fantastic coach. But yeah, they just had an enjoyable. You know what? That's who the Clippers are, kind of like Pacers West. Where you're just there's only a certain level. right? Yeah, I know you're a big Pacers guy. Okay, so here's
Yeah.
a question for you that I'm going going on with our colleague Eric Casillas later on today, and they wanted to ask me about what's the ceiling for the Pacers in the playoffs this year, and I was like, I don't know, kind of like what they did last year, although it would be much harder for them to make it to the conference finals, but like win a round or two. Like that's pretty much it for the Clips too.
So I'm going to combine my last weekend radar. Pacers have won 4 in a row. I mean, I'm not saying they're setting the world on fire, but I think the Pacers are going to be a playoff team. And I think Cleveland's dynamic and outstanding and going to be great. But if I'm wrong, and if you're wrong, and it happens, I mean, I think the Pacers' ultimate ceiling would be make a conference finals and then get smoked, just get utterly destroyed by Cleveland or Boston, depending on sort of where they end up. I mean, that's
Yeah.
you end up in the 4 or 5. It's maybe you have a chance. I don't know. The Clippers. Who's got more of a ceiling is what I keep trying to. This is another thing on my radar: Clippers or Timberwolves. Who do I think if they can get in and they can really avoid the Thunder, which is, if you can win that first playing game and you get Houston, who let's say Houston is too young, like I've said. I think the right answer is Timberwolves, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm probably going Wolves, but it's close. I'm going Wolves just by virtue of Ant being the best player among that group. But it's really close. I mean, they're not dissimilar teams in that they both have really good defenses and one single guy that you really have to focus on if they're both healthy. So yeah, I'd probably go Wolves. That's a close one though. Other things on my radar, we just talked about it, but I had the Pistons on my radar just because they've won 40 games for the first time in 6 years, and they're 2 wins away from being over 500 for the first time since 2016, Bill, which is absolutely outrageous. So congrats again to the Pistons. This has become a Pistons podcast. Here's something I wanted to throw at you. The Jazz are sneakily like really leaning into their tank. So Walker Kessler had 8 3-point attempts versus the Cavs in that loss. 8. And he's now taken 26 3-point attempts in his last 3 games. Bill, in his previous 50 games, he had taken just 6 threes total. So they've decided as the season starts to wrap up here, they're like, Walker Kessler, get out there, work on your 3-point game. I love it.
You should be our Tank Wars insider because you are.
I got more coming up
in the tank. By the way, did I tell you this? I'm trying to get into. I did this a couple years ago. I'm going to the Combine in Chicago.
I want you to do it.
And did I already say this? I'm trying really hard to get into it, but normally it's easy. It sounds like a lot of people want to be in there this year because there's so much at stake.
Well, the Sixers, that draft pick that is owed to Oklahoma City, top 1 to 6 protected, that, in terms of the Eastern Conference, like, it's 1 to 6, right? Those are teams that are relevant and have been good. And then after that, it's everybody focused on what's going to happen with the Nets, the Raptors, and the Sixers, because whoever finishes 5th there will have a 64% chance at keeping that pick. The Sixers would. So like that would be a lot of drama and would be super fun for you to write about, especially
and those guys
when nothing's going well.
And like on TV when they announced it, those guys are trying to keep their face. Not in that room. There's nobody there, so they're just like, oh, F word, like, like I want to see Daryl Morey pull some of his hair out,
I want a first down account of that. Yeah, I want you in there.
Yeah.
That would be a lot of fun.
I want to be in there too.
Anything else on your radar?
No, I mean, like the last thing was the Pacers, which I brought up. And by the way, they're winning, and my level of belief is dissipating because I'm watching a lot of their games right now. I know they really got to catch magic in a bottle, but they just find ways to win games for a team that doesn't look as good as some of the other teams we talk about.
Let's say they finish with the 4 seed and they win their first round. What percentage chance? I mean, they're going to be the underdog against the Cavs, but it's a non-zero chance that they somehow pull the rabbit out of the hat.
12%.
Okay.
I think
a little bit better than 1 in 10.
I think it's a lot more about Cleveland. Like, is Cleveland that team in the playoffs? I mean, they would need Donovan Mitchell to go 7 of 30.
Get really cold.
5 or 6 games. Yeah.
I'd rather play the Cavs and the Celtics too in the second round. So that, I mean, it's not nothing for the Pacers if they end up holding on to that 4 seed. All right, last radar for me. The Raptors have just put on a masterclass in tanking recently. So they lost by 34 points, Bill, to the Spurs at home. I don't know if you've seen what they've been doing, but so they've been alternating healthy rest days for Emmanuel Quickly, Jakob Poeltl, Scotty Barnes, and RJ Barrett. Basically, like, pick two of those guys on any given day. They're resting two of those players. And it's not just on back-to-backs. Like, there have frequently been rest days on either side of these games. And they're just like, IQ and Poeltl, you're not playing tonight. Or RJ and Scotty, you're not playing tonight. And in that game that they lost at home to the Spurs by 34 points, Scotty and RJ each played 30 minutes. So they were out there, but they were so bad in that game that it was just like, it doesn't matter that you've played 30. It's just, they have done such a, and also on top of it, sitting those guys in fourth quarters in games where you could win, and they're just like, nah, we're not going to run them out there. I just can't believe that this hasn't popped up on the league's radar.
And the most impressive thing is, of all the tanking teams, I'm starting to have the most level of belief that when they all play and Brandon Ingram's healthy, if they draft Cooper Flagg or they draft properly, if they don't get the, you could see Toronto getting really good and fun really fast.
Toronto next season, new Pistons. That's my prediction. I think that they'll be
I love it. I think that's right.
You know, like maybe like the Bucks fall back, or, you know, Giannis decides to move on or whatever. All right, let's wrap it up with team of the night.
I'm going to go with a team that I actually don't believe in, but I think this was one of the teams that we didn't actually have on our list at all. And this is a few nights ago, but you beat Cleveland. You're Phoenix, right?
You're doing it. First time ever.
Doing it. I
was gonna make a joke about it, and then not.
Oh, you were?
You're doing it.
I'm going Suns. Okay. Welcome to the club, guys.
The Suns finally got off the schneid. It's their first team of the night win. You know what? So what does that leave then? The Bulls and the Hornets are the only teams that haven't won one.
And Chicago. I mean, I'm not telling you what to do.
Chicago. You know what? Let's do it. Let's double it up. I'll take the Chicago Bulls, who beat the Lakers, absolutely throttled them, despite the fact that the Lakers had LeBron James back. As I mentioned, Kobe White went off. Josh Giddey put up an absolutely ridiculous line. And as I mentioned, my man Tom Ziller was saying that the Bulls have been like a little fun to watch lately. And I did watch that entire game, Bill. And I kind of was like, okay, I keep waiting for the Lakers to climb back into this game. And they never did. But I didn't turn it off, despite the fact that it was a complete and utter blowout, just because you have a lot of star power on the Lakers side. And then I was like, the Bulls are kind of fun in this game. I don't know. So that leaves now only the Charlotte Hornets. I don't know how they might end up running the table on this thing. I don't know how they're going to end up with a team of the night, but we're running out of time here.
Yeah. I'm going to say they're plus 750 to be team of the night. It's not likely.
It's not looking good. All right, that's going to do it for us today. We're going to be back at it tomorrow, live on YouTube at 12 p.m. Eastern. Big day tomorrow. As I mentioned, Jimmy Butler heading back to Miami. We'll discuss that and some other things that happened in the NBA tonight. You can find us on YouTube at Beyond the Arc CBS. But for now, for our NBA insider, Bill Ryder, I'm John Gonzalez. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. See you tomorrow.